Yes, we're back, people. Big up to everybody that's here at 12th Man. We have got another show, and I've got a great guest, one of my favourites, the elite when it comes to talking any football, but certainly when it comes to Manchester City. We got Big Steve in the house. Steve, it's been too long, bro. How are you, man?
I'm very well, mate. You? I'm good.
I'm good, man. Yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm kind of enjoying the summer as best I can, trying not to get too wound up by what's happening elsewhere with the football club, etc. But things are now finally starting to move. City did their business early, so did Liverpool. Arsenal have taken a little bit longer. So hopefully we're here to discuss it. Make sure you hit the like, people. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click on the link in the title, which of course is Big Steve's channel. So make sure you go show him some love as well and get him to where is needed. You'll see him on Big Six and on other shows and content that he's doing as well. So make sure you're following Steve if you're not already. We're going to talk Arsenal and City. We're going to talk about how Man City look going into the season. We're also going to look at how easy it is to rattle the Arsenal fan base, because Steve has become very popular with Arsenal fans. I'm, of course, being sarcastic in the last 2 weeks or so. And we're going to take a little bit of the mick out of the club that has ruined both the childhoods of myself and Steve, that is now absolutely laughable in the form of Manchester United. And do you know what, Steve? I'm going to start there, brother, if I'm honest, because why not start with a little bit of laughter as we get into the show? They ruined my childhood under Sir Alex Ferguson, if I'm honest with you. I'm 37. I grew up winning, but I grew up losing because of that team. I know for a fact that team must have absolutely destroyed your childhood and took the mick out of you throughout your kind of school and high school years and college years and drinking years, I imagine, as well, until Manchester City started to become very successful. Feels quite good, doesn't it, bruv, at the moment? I can't lie, yeah. Laughing at them, there's nothing going right, which is quite unusual. I understand they've won trophies and they can take the mick out of us for not doing so, but I look at what's happening at Man United at the moment, and it fills me with a lot of joy, if I'm honest with you, Steve. I can't lie, bruv. But how are you feeling as a City fan, looking what's happening over there, the other side of Manchester?
Oh yeah, it's sensational stuff. You know what I mean? It's glorious, and you are right. They did ruin my childhood. The only good thing for me when I was a kid is at 3 o'clock when you left school. That was it. It was game over because there was no mobile phones. You didn't have to see anyone till the next day. So you know, they did ruin the childhood. But now Manchester City and Pep Guardiola especially is ruining grown men's lives in Manchester. There's literally men coming home from the match weekend, smashing the gaff up, getting slung out their house, and having to go to McDonald's with the kids every alternate weekend because they're getting that angry that the relationship's gone down the drain. So I'd rather have my childhood ruined than my adult life, because in your adult life, you know what I mean, it's day-to-day constant mobile phones, WhatsApp groups, you know what I mean, YouTube. There's no getting away from it. And when I was growing up, United was an institution, you know what I mean? It was something that you looked at and thought, one day I'd love to be like them, you know, and I'll admit that. But they always had this arrogance and cockiness about them, like they was untouchable. Even when Manchester City was in Division 2, they were still had the banner on the Stretford end mocking Manchester City. Now, I mean, if you're winning Champions Leagues and your rivals are in Division 2, why would you even go there? But they had to, you know what I mean? They like it.
A bit like you putting out banners for Stockport, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be done. But do you know what it is now? Now the tables have turned and it's flipped on them. They don't like it. They can't handle it. You know what I mean? If you mention them, you're obsessed. You know what I mean? But they forget about all the times they mentioned you. They won the Champions League in the new camp. They were singing about Man City. So, you know, they've got all this about them. They forget about that. A lot of them have jumped ship. They don't like football anymore. A lot of the lads I grew up with who were big Reds are now not big Reds. You know, they go shopping at weekend with the wives and shit like that. You know what I mean? Don't like football anymore, which is convenient. But no, long may it continue. You know what I mean? Scruffy Jim's proved he is a scruff. You know what I mean? Omar Barada came in. We got told it was the Omar era, the Ineos era. You know what I mean? Jason Wilcox and all this are going to come in, revitalise the club. It's never been as fucking bad. So, you know, it's great stuff. It's great stuff. And, you know, it's good for the blue side of Manchester to watch. And we the City fans, though, we're quite a good bunch, which some of us are actually feeling a bit sorry for them and that. And I don't like that. But some of the City fans do. I don't think we give them enough shit. You know what I mean? We really need to be on them like football. Because if they come back, they will come back at some point. if football goes in cycles and something will happen. But we've got to take our advantage now and give it him. I think Axel Tunzabi is suing him.
Oh, yeah.
I've been told there's a guy suing him for food poisoning because the chicken is still raw. They got the 2-star hygiene. They went from no stars to 2 stars. The roof's still pissing in. And then they've sacked all the dinner ladies and the staff. So no wonder the hygiene shit. And basically, but they're still going to build a £10 billion circus tent. So, yeah, it's definitely a fucking mess over there, mate. 100%.
What's hilarious is the circus tent thing just tops it off for me because it is a circus. Let's be real. It looks like one now that it will look like one when they build it. Look, as far as I'm concerned, bruv, it's beautiful to see. They do it with us as well. I know they hate Liverpool and Man City more, but Arsenal are right up there for their hatred because we ruined the part of their childhood as well when we went invincible and we did doubles and they were taking titles off of them. So they can't stand us from those days, right? But at the moment, I know it's easy to laugh at us because we haven't won anything in that 5 years, but if you look at where we are and where they're at, they are a complete and utter mess. We're frustrated, but we're close to doing something, hopefully anyway, and that's winning trophies. They are millions of miles away. They brought in another manager in Amorim, who I don't actually think's done anywhere near the job anyone expected him to do. They've changed their complete system and style with players that can't play that system. What they're then going to do is, because they're not sure on him now and the fans are not sure on him, they're going to say he needs his team, just like they did Ten Hag, just like they did Oli, just like they did Jose Mourinho. They'll bring the players in, and by October, they'll sack him, and they'll have a load of Ruben Amorim players, and they'll bring in another manager to try and play another system with Ruben Amorim players. And it's just a cycle. And I look at the structure at Manchester United now, and I think, you mentioned some of the names there. As much as they've done a bad job, they shouldn't be. They're footballing men. Like Omar Barada, we know about. Obviously, Jason Wilcox. I don't know much about Jim Ratcliffe, if I'm honest. But I'll tell you what, who are laughing, the Glazers, bruv. They're absolutely pissing themselves because no one cares about them anymore. The heat's completely off of them. They're all talking about everyone else. Oh, it's Ineos now. Now it's the gym. Now it's this. Now it's that and the third. And it's on Barada. I've expected more from him. Jason Wilcox, what's he done yet?
What makes me laugh, Dan, is that the Scruffy Jim buys a percentage of Man United, 20%, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden, he's in control of the football club. Now, I'm not being funny. If you buy 20% of my company, you ain't in control of my company. I'm in control. So them Glazers are sat in the background, the puppet masters, thinking this dickhead has put a statement out saying he's in control. Let him get the shit. So if anything goes wrong, the Glazers just go, hold on a minute, we're not in control. Jim's in control. So It's a fucking great. They're still taking the dividends. But that lot over there, they're that fucking stupid. They lap it up. They're the only football team that protested against the Glazers and all the merchandise and all that shit. They broke into their own stadium. They got the Liverpool game called off. And then they went and signed Ronaldo because Fergie and Rio Ferdinand shit it, thinking he was going to City. It put the transfer plans back 4 years, and they were queuing up round the block for fucking United shirts the week after. Now tell me, 1 minute you're protesting and blocking the shop and saying don't buy merch. They throw them a Ronaldo-shaped bone. They're lapping it up. So they'll sign someone in this window and someone with a big name, and they'll be lapping it up again. But Ruben Amorim, you're right. He came in and he hasn't done a good job. He's nowhere near it because if they'd have kept Eric Ten Hag, they wouldn't have finished 15th. Do you know what I mean? Simple as that. But it's all right saying I haven't got my players and all that. Right, okay, that's fine. Go and get your players then. But you've got no dough and nobody wants to go there. So good luck to him.
Well, it's hilarious because Brian Mbeumo has been linked with them for about 17 weeks and they can't get anything across the line. And what makes me laugh is fans in the chat from United like this, Mr. Nice, big up to you, bro. He says, you're both talking about United, but United ain't talking about you. Big club. We're actually taking the piss out of your club, mate, because it's shocking. That's what we're doing.
This is the kind of fan, though. You know, when I said to you before, you're not allowed to talk about them because it hurts. So when you talk about them, they come on here and they hate it. And they try and spin it like, oh, you're always talking about us. Well, let me just tell you something, Mr. Nice. No matter who you are, if you shit, we're going to talk about you because you shit. We're not talking about you because you're good. We're not talking about all the great things you did like we did years ago. Used to say Ronaldo, Giggs, Keane. We're talking about you because you wank and you're literally just terrible. And there's so much to talk about, but they're not used to it, man. They can't handle it inside. It burns them. They'll all jump ship anyway. Mr. Nice will be supporting Chelsea soon, so it's fine.
Well, look, it's hilarious what's happening. They can't even get Brian and Mbeumo over the line. They started off with Cunha, and it looked like Mbeumo was coming after. I thought, here we go. Maybe they've woken up. Maybe they've started to feel like they might have to get some proper footballers in the club. But it's just stalled again. Apparently, they haven't got enough money to get Brian and Mbeumo. I mean, we're talking about a good player here, but we're not talking about them trying to buy someone from Real Madrid. We're talking about getting a winger from Brentford who wants to leave, and they can't even afford him without trying to come down to some form of structure. It's just nothing short of embarrassing, if I'm honest with you, what's happening at Manchester United. And I wouldn't want to be them. And I never would have said that a while ago. Like you, I would have gone, for one day, love to be dominating them like that. Love to be the English club that people look at and are scared of. And, I mean, they've gone from Keenan Scholes to Fred and McTominay to now, I don't even know if they got in their midfield now. Ugarte and bloody Kobe Minu, innit, or something. It's just embarrassing. It really is. So, look, long may it continue. I hope they struggle and continue to struggle for a long time. You won't hear any sympathy from me. It's beautiful to watch. And look, there's some of the United fans I have a lot of time for and respect that are calling this out. There's some of them that are just in complete cloud cuckoo land, in my opinion, and think that they'll be all right for top 4 this coming season. So let's see what happens. It's going to be a long way to go. Look, let's talk about it, because I wanted to bring you on because I know you've been getting a lot of stick from the Arsenal fans. And I watch Big Six all the time. And I watch your content, and I know that you say it how it is. You're always honest, and I love you for that. What's been happening? Why do these Arsenal fans get so rattled with what you say? I don't get it, because I'm very sort of say it how it is, and I agree with a lot of what you say. But there's some people that don't like what you say, Steve, isn't there?
It's not all Arsenal fans. I mean, I think the Arsenal fan base, we can all agree, there's two ends of the scale. It's either fucking absolute madness or pretty level-headed. There's nowhere in between for me. It's like it's one extreme to the other. And listen, I think a lot of them are young, and they like to hear people glazing over Arsenal, and they like to tell you it's like a comfort thing. They like people to tell them how good they are. It's going to be all right. Don't worry about it. Once we get him, we'll win this. Once we get this piece of the jigsaw, we'll win this. And that's fine. But you've got to be real sometimes. And I'm like, I'm just trying to say how it is. I've heard a lot of noise from them for the last 5 years of what they're going to do. We're coming for you. Soon as Pep leaves, once Manchester City slip, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But nothing's been done. So this is what I was saying. I was like, I don't want to hear it anymore. Just get on with it. Go and do it. They beat Real Madrid in the Champions League. And I said, that's a fucking great result. And it was brilliant. And you had a great night at the Emirates. But it means now, if you don't go and win the Champions League, you can't say that, you don't do that. I went, no, I can, because I've been there myself in Man City. We've beat Bayern Munich. We've beat Paris Saint-Germain. Then we've got knocked out of Monaco or things like that. So it means nothing. I'm not talking about them games anymore. It's nothing. The Real Madrid game, no one's asked about it anymore. But they don't like to hear the truth. So I'm just coming from my perspective of, I don't want to hear about you beating Real Madrid 5-1. You can talk about it that week, but let's go and win it now. But what pissed me off the most, they got beat off Paris Saint-Germain in the first leg. And everyone already threw the towel in and said it was over. But you still had another leg to play. And I was like, well, but you just told us you beat Real Madrid the week before. But this week, now you're losing 1-0 to Paris Saint-Germain. It's over. And I'm like, I don't understand it. And I'm like, one thing with City, when they went on to win that treble, you have to, all season, you just had to believe it was going to happen together. But as soon as there's a bump in the road at Arsenal, I feel like everyone just goes to shit. Everyone has a meltdown and it's over. And, you need to do this and we need to do that. And it's like last season, second game of the season, I think you played Brighton or something. Yeah. I think you drew. 1-1. Turkish said the league was over. There's 2 games. And I'm like, how can it be over? I just don't understand it. That you might as well just not go to the game then after that. If that's how you believe. And then they all take the piss. Oh, you said believe. But they didn't really believe it. You know what I mean? It's a lot of fake confidence. We had the Declan Rice thing. Great player. Now we've got Rice. He's better than Rodri. He's going to do this. And it's not everybody. So I'm not tarnishing everyone the same. But from a rival point of view, who's in the spotlight on the Big Six, the amount of shit I was getting off him about it all. But the second I give anything back, Big Steve, some guy's taking me to court, apparently. and that was one of them. And they got a petition to get me off the Big Six, and it's just fucking hilarious. But at the end of the day, I was honest about Arteta when everybody slagged him and called him the coal man. I said he was a good coach, and you've got to stick with him. And he's done all right. But there comes a point now where we go, okay, he's done okay where you are, but is he the man to take you over the line? And 3 seconds out of the last 3 tells me this is the final season. If you get second again, four in a row, Man City's just won 4 Premier Leagues in a row. You could be second 4 in a row. That's not what you want to be hearing. So then I think Arteta's hit his ceiling. That's his level for me. That's what he can't get him over the line. And that's no disrespect to him, because from where you was when he took over to where you are now, he's got to get credit for that, because you were a lot better. But now people start talking about the dough. Oh, Arsenal have spent a lot of money. Chelsea spent a lot of money. Arsenal spent money, which you have. But you need something to show for it. You know, even Man United are shit, but they're knocking about winning the FA Cups and League Cups. Tottenham's won a Europa League. And you know what it's like, Dan. You'd rather be Arsenal than Man United. Even if Man United won the FA Cup for the next 4 years on the trot, the state of that football club, you wouldn't want that. So you'd rather be where you are. But I feel like Arsenal are so close to winning it. But there's definitely a mentality issue at the final end of the season. Manchester City at the end of the season, everyone's scared, because if they're on your ass, they're going to win it, because they get it bit between the teeth, and the fans and everyone get behind them when we push it to keep going, and we win it and we snatch it at the end. With Arsenal, I feel like they go, oh shit, there's 10 games to go, we're fucking top of the league. Fuck, what's going to happen? And then everyone goes, you're going to bottle it. And instead of saying, fuck off, we ain't going to bottle it, we're having it, they're leaving with 10 minutes to go in the stadium because it's not going their way and it's half empty. And it's like, so when I'm saying is, it's all right telling me they believe. You don't believe. I can see on the telly you don't believe. You know what I mean? I can see you're getting off. And then Arteta out on the morals and that because you signed Madueke. I mean, it's fucking hell. You've signed a kid. He's 23-year-old. You don't know what he's going to be like. We signed Manuel Akanji, and we won the treble. Did everyone want Akanji? No. Was everyone upset with him? Probably. Did we fucking throw our toys out the pram? No. We just trusted the manager and got on with it. But they don't like the truth. And don't get me wrong, for every dickhead Arsenal fan that gives me abuse, I probably get 2 or 3 that send me a message and go, do you know what, Steve? You was right there with that. And I'm not trolling. I'll troll Arsenal if they troll me. If I go on a show and I'm getting trolled, I'll give it back. If I go on a show and I get respect, I'll show respect. I've just done a back your chat thing in South Africa on Supersport with Grizz, and we had to go head to head like a rattling debate.
Yeah.
And I said Jurgen Klopp will always be remembered as the Pep Guardiola's bitch, a bridesmaid. And someone's clipped it, put it out, and the Liverpool fans are in utter fucking meltdown over it. But they don't know the context of it, you know? It's like, if me and you had a thing to do, rattle each other now for 2 minutes, we'd both say mad shit that just to get on each other's nerves, you know what I mean? But with Arsenal, they like to give it me, on the Big Six especially. I just tell them a few own truths. They didn't like it because before Gyökeres was linked to Arsenal, I said, I don't rate him as a player. He scored a hat-trick against us against Sporting Lisbon. I came on the Big Six and I said, he's not that good. And they went, oh, you're just salty. I went, I'm not salty. He's got an hat-trick against the worst Man City team we've seen in 5 years. We were shit. I said, but I don't rate him. I just don't rate him. I don't think he's a good player. And I stuck by my opinion. And one thing with me is I will always say it. After one game last season, I told everyone in the Big Six that Joshua Zirkzee was fucking garbage, right? You're taking the piss. Højlund, garbage. I won that much money off that Højlund that last year. Angry Jin owes me 250 because he said he was going to get 20 plus goals. He didn't. And then I've done it over the years with players. It's my opinion. I think I'm old enough to look at a player, in my opinion, and go, nah, I don't rate him. And I just think for what Arsenal need, the people are looking at the goals, the record. They're not looking at the player. I said Sesko would be a better fit, in my opinion. But then they said, oh, no. And listen, I'm willing to be proved wrong. So if he goes and smashes it, then fucking everyone can come at me. But I honestly don't think that gets you to the next level, in my opinion, him. Rodrigo, yeah, that's a bit of a game changer for me. Eze as well. Okay, the three of them, definitely. But just him on his own, I don't think moves it enough for me.
Mm. Well, let's move to that because look, I mean, what's quite funny is I'll bring this up, Mr. Nice. What before we move to the Gyökeres thing, what do you say to this? Because it's not just Man United fans who say this, Arsenal fans say this as well. We've earned it, you bought it, and they do it with Chelsea as well. How do you react to that? Because obviously I wouldn't know. I've not been taken over by that side of things. But what's your reply? Because you must get this a lot, bro.
See, what's the difference between Abu Dhabi money and American money? Because they've got American money, spent more than us, and are absolute dog shit. We've got Arab money, you know what I mean, spent less than you, won 19 trophies in 10 years, got the biggest redevelopment going on in the stadium, and as a football club are absolutely amazing. So it's just jealousy. Their biggest sponsor, the longest sponsor Man United have ever had, is Gulf Oil. Yeah, so small bullshit. Do you know what I mean? It's Tottenham are begging for the Arab money now. They were begging for Sheikh Jassim. They had a protest outside the ground begging for Sheikh Jassim and Qatar to come and rescue them from the Glazers. So he's just jealous. Mr. Nice is upset because if Sheikh Jassim came in, the Man United fans, they'd all be running round, you know, living the dream. It's just jealousy. At the end of the day, you've got your American dollars and it's ruined your football club. So leave us alone. We're happy with the oil. Keep filling your car up with petrol and City will be all right.
I've got to be honest. I would take that the way you were run over the Cronkies any day of the week. But you know, we'll come to that. There's another super chat in here as well. It says, "Big up, Steve. I disagreed with you in the Big Six show about Gyökeres, but some fans took it too far. It's just an opinion at the end of the day. Why don't you think he's the guy? Because I like him. Well, I like what I see. I'm not no idea what he's going to do at Arsenal. I imagine my opinion is that he'll do well. He should do well. If Marino and Havertz can get 9 goals and 14 goals, I'm expecting Gyökeres to get 20 with what he's doing over in Portugal. And I appreciate the Darwin Núñez comparisons, but there's also been top quality players like Di Maria and Ronaldo and Nani and others that have come from Portugal that have done very well in other leagues as well. So what is it about Gyökeres you're not sure about, bro?
I just think you've got to change the way you play to suit him. I feel like he's not a Haaland player. He's not anywhere near it. Like Haaland came in, a lot of players now are finding a way to block the big strikers off. You know what I mean? I think if you can slag Havertz off for not scoring the goals, but I think he keeps you playing okay. I don't think he gets pocketed. He keeps getting ticked over. It keeps the ball running, keeps it moving. And Arsenal are better when they're in full flow. When Arsenal are in full flow, it's better. The last thing you want is a team going in a low block and just passing Gyökeres along the back line, passing him along, easy to mark. Then what happens then is you become desperate. I've seen it with City. You start getting the balls, trying to get the balls in the box all the time. It's bread and butter. Do you know what I mean? It's bread and butter for him. I just feel like then as they come deep, they start coming deeper, trying to do it. I can just see it in my head how it's going to go. And I feel like if he doesn't hit the ground running, people are going to get frustrated with him. He's not pretty on the eye. He's a bagsman. He needs the ball in and around the box to just get it in the net. He's not going to be, in my opinion, dropping deep and linking up play and being as mobile as you think. You know, I've watched him for Lisbon a few times and yeah, he's dangerous. But the teams that Lisbon were playing, they weren't sat deep. They're having a go at Lisbon, trying to win the game. I think in the Premier League, you get teams just going to sit deep. And I just want to see him in the Premier League. I think there's a reason why a lot of teams in the Premier League now don't play with a big number 9. Do you know what I mean? You've got Chris Wood at Forest. He's done okay. They got 2 great wingers. They get down the line on the outside. They're getting the balls in. City and Arsenal tend to come inside all the time. And when you're coming inside, when you've got a number 9, it's frustrating for him. I see Haaland absolutely frustrated out of his box sometimes with it. You know, some games you don't get a touch of the ball. And I just feel like we've got other options that get us the goals. I think Arsenal, if you've got that, you're relying on that Gyökeres, you've got to then, Saka's got to chip in. You know what I mean? With the goals, Odegaard's not been good enough in midfield. You know what I mean?
Mm.
From his level, what we know at, and I'm thinking, I just feel for me, you've got to change. If Arteta change it and comes up with a system for him, then he might kick off. But I just can't get it out of my head. I'd like to look and think I can see him doing it, but I just don't think he's the right man for the job.
Well, we don't know. You don't know if I'm right or you're right. I think he'll do well. You're not sure. I do feel like there's the concerns of the following. I think the amount of space he gets in Portugal is going to be different to in England. I think that's definitely a key. Not that it's a farmers league, because it's not, but obviously it's an easier league than the Prem. The other thing I'll say is what I do kind of worry about is our style and the manager and how he's going to fit him into it. Because if we do just lump balls up to him, actually that might not be the best case, because as much as he's got the physical presence for that, if you're lumping it up to him all the time, that ain't a good way to play football, and you're relying on him and him only. What we need to do is change our style. So the style that was 22-23, we went 8 points clear at the top, and everyone was like, wow, what's happening here? Gabby Jesus got injured. I think he had 10 goals that season, but the other three behind him all got 15 each. We're going to need to do that as well. So we're going to need to get 15 goals from Saka and Martinelli, or if it's Rodrigo or Eze, we're dreaming for a minute with Odegaard as well, getting those sort of numbers on top of Gyökeres getting 20. That's how you win titles. You don't win titles by just relying on Gyökeres to get 20 goals and the others can all relax. You've got to all do it together. So our style's got to change. I think what we've got to do as well is we've actually got to allow for the ball to be completely and utterly killed when it gets into that box. Because the amount of times I saw last season, even no one in the box at all because they were too deep, or whoever was in the box was missing it. Havertz, Marino, Jesus when he was fit, Sterling. Do you know what I mean? All these guys were flopping. Even Trossard and Martinelli against PSG, they should have scored. We could have gone through, but they missed. And that's now going to be pressure on Gyökeres to be that killer and that bagsman, which I think he can be, because I've seen him do it in Portugal and he's doing it. Do you know, like when someone does it in the league and you think, all right, the next step is what do you do in Europe? What do you do in the Champions League? What do you do at your cup? I think he's passed every test now, because when he was at Coventry, he looked half decent, but he was a championship striker. Weren't getting excited. But what I will say is I was following Luton that year because I wanted them to go up, and they ended up doing it. And he got them to a playoff final, Coventry, on his own. Basically, him and Gustavo Hammer basically got them two to the final. And I thought, he looks interesting. Wolves were interested in him. And I thought, I hope he comes to the Prem, because he was at Brighton and he's got physical attributes. And he went to Sporting. I thought, cool, I don't know if he's going to be ready for that, but fair enough. So I followed him over there and I thought, crikey, he's got 53 goals. How the hell has he done that? Then he did it again this season, just gone. He did it in the Europa League. He got 6 in 9. He went to the Champions League and he scored against you guys. He scored against other top sides. And I thought, he's kind of completing every test now. Now he's doing it for Sweden. So I think that is what gives me the confidence that this is absolutely worth the risk. And let's be real, we've actually spent as much on Madueke and more on Havertz than we have on Gyökeres. So this guy, as much as there's pressure for him to come in and be the 9, it's not like he's cost us 180 and it's like an Isak level signing that's absolutely got to work. Like, for me, it's got to work, but it's not like enough of a risk to go, oh no, keep clear of him. And I don't think there's any other strikers at the moment that I look at other than Isak, who I think's unobtainable. Osimhen, who wants about 700 grand a week. And obviously Julian Alvarez, who is your old boy, who's more of an attacking 10 in my opinion, but can play 9. They're the only other options along with Gyökeres that I'd have been okay with. Sesko's a bit too unproven for my liking. Ekatike likewise. And then you've got to look in the Premiership at João Pedro's and Matetas. So I do think he's probably, other than Isak, one of the best that we'll go with. And it's got to be, it now. And I'll ask you this. I know you're not hugely set on it. Do you think alongside an Eze and a Rodrigo, that would be enough for Arsenal to win a league? Or do you still think that City and Liverpool are ahead of them?
No, I think if you sign them, I think you've got to win the league. I mean, I look at Arsenal, I look at the goalkeeper. He's a great goalkeeper. I look at the defence, it's strong. I look at the midfield, it's strong. It was just that last final third where sometimes they were missing the chances. So if you're bringing in Gyökeres with his record, I get it. You're going to think, right, this is the missing piece of the jigsaw. But there's just something else missing, which you can't put your finger on it. There's been times in the last 3 years where I think the team's been good enough to win the league. Do you know what I mean? But it just near the end, the daft results and all that. So you've just got to create that winning feeling and that spirit and keep it going. You can't every time City's won the league, there's been a time in the season where I thought we're not going to win the league. But I didn't say it to anybody, or didn't go out there and fucking panic the masses and say, fucking hell. I mean, we won the treble. We went to Forest. I think we beat you. And then we went to Forest and drew 1-1. And we were fucking terrible, like really bad. Haaland never had a touch of the ball. We just looked so rigid and side to side. It was terrible. And I thought, we're not going to do it. I remember driving home thinking, we're not going to do it. And then he changed it and played 4 centre-backs, and it all clicked into game. We went and won the treble. So things can change quick. I feel like if you sign them players, you've got a lot more options than what you've got now. Better options, like killer options. Eze is a great player. You know what I mean? He's Premier League proven and he's dangerous. You know what I mean? You've got Rodrigo. If you get him, he's definitely a game changer for me. You know what I mean? Definitely a game changer. There was a few times last season where Arsenal needed a goal, and I looked at the substitutions that were coming on, and it didn't really fill me with like, you were going to get there. And I feel like the squad you've got now, if you can add them 3, I feel like the squad's good. You've got Lewis-Skelly came in, young lads coming in, Wanyere. So the future's definitely bright, but it's like frustration now. You need that trophy now. Not even if it's a League Cup. I'm not taking the piss, but you need something to just go, right, okay. We've won something can win. Now. Yeah. Let's go again. And I feel like Newcastle, after what they've just won, I think they'll be a lot more dangerous now because the fans are believing they can do it. The players have got that little taste. That's a dangerous mix when everyone's on the same page. And I just feel like with Arsenal at the minute, they're so desperate to get that trophy. I think if they win one, then more will definitely come. It's just getting over the line that one time under Arteta, because it's a very, very tough situation, because the last thing you want to do is if you get rid of Arteta and you get somebody in with new ideas, new backroom staff, new players, don't quite fit the system, it's like you're starting again. And if it doesn't work, it can set you back another 2 or 3 years. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't work every time. City were fortunate under Mancini, where we got rid of Mancini and the fans went mad. How are you getting rid of Mancini? But they slid Pellegrini in. He won the league and the League Cup. Then they slid him out and brought Pep in, and we carried on winning. So for us, it's easy for us to say because we haven't had a setback. But with you, I feel like you're just there. It's just Arsenal are just there. It's just something that needs to click. And like you say, if Gyökeres is the man, he might be the man. He might do it for you and get you over the line. But I feel like you're very close to winning the Premier League. I don't think you're a million miles away.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm the same. And my doubts with the manager, you know that. I think I've been fairly consistent throughout on that. I never thought that he could get us into a title race, and I was wrong. But I'd certainly never believed that he could win us a title or a Champions League. Now, he'd obviously won a domestic trophy already, so I thought that was clear that he could do it. Could he do it with this team? I think there's a mentality issue, if I'm honest. I will say that, though, that you're right. We are close. And I think a left winger, a striker, and an attacking midfielder on top of who we've bought in defensive midfield, I do feel like there's everything there tools-wise to go and deliver. And that's what he's got to do now. And I'm not saying that we're better than City and Liverpool, but I look at the squad and I don't see a huge gap, Steve. I've got to be honest. I don't look at City and go, all right, ain't catching them. Or I don't look at Liverpool and think, Salah, oh, sorry, we ain't got any goals in our team like that. And as much as Salah and Haaland are clear of what Arsenal have got individually, I do think the squads are very similar. So I do think it will be a 3-horse race. Maybe Chelsea or Newcastle could surprise, depending on what they do in the window, because I think the window has got a lot to do with it in the next few weeks. But I don't think that there could be any excuses. If we bring in Gyökeres, Eze and Rodrigo on top of Zubimendi and Norgard, Madueke, obviously Mosquera, the defender, and Kepa, I don't think you can say Arsenal have not got a squad that's good enough. I don't think you can make excuses that Arteta hasn't got his striker. He doesn't have his squad. They need time to gel. You know, we've got too many injuries, red cards and referees. I don't hear any of it. We've got to go and deliver. There's no more of this excuses for me, bro. And look, I don't dislike Arteta. I just don't know that he's the guy to get us to the next level. And you make good points. I loved what you did as a football club with Pep Guardiola, because everybody was quite happy with Mancini, Pellegrini. Everyone's quite happy. It's very easy to get complacent and to believe that Arteta will one day do it. You know, Stricto said to me, the guy digging for that diamond and he gives up, but he was that close to it. And don't give up because you're only a millimeter away from it. He feels we're like that. And I get that analogy, but at the same time, it feels like we've been digging far too long. And when are we going to hit the diamond? It has to be this year. You know, and if it isn't this year, I don't know how anyone can say we've got to give him another season, because for me, you have to go and win and show that you can win. It's like Chelsea with Maresca. As much as I took the mick out of them and what they were doing, spending $1 billion on kids and stuff, right? They won that Conference League, which, let's be real, I didn't really want to be in, but if you're in it, you got to win it, right? And now they've gone and won the Club World Cup, which means that the winning mentality from May has followed them through to July. And that's what I believe we've got to do now, is we've got to go and win something, even if it is the League Cup, so that you can either win again in May or win again soon. And that's where I think Arsenal are at, bro. I really do. But it's going to be hard. It's not easy to win the league. It ain't. I get that. I understand that, right? But at the end of the day, we are spending close to £1 billion now if this window goes through, with one manager on one team. He's got everything he needs. You have to deliver, man. So are you in the same boat? Do you think it has to be this year, or he might have to be replaced?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You just can't carry on just giving people this extra chance all the time and falling short. There needs to be a change, you know. And you look at Liverpool with Klopp. He finished second many times to Pep, and then they brought in Slot, and nobody expects him to win the league. He's come in quietly, made a couple of little changes, just done enough. But you know, City dropped off. We were one winning 13. We blew ourselves up. But that was Arsenal's chance, in my opinion, last season to take it. You know what I mean? Everyone was saying if Man City slip, Arsenal are ready to take it. And they didn't step up to the plate. You know what I mean? Liverpool basically won it at a canter. So it is hard to win the league. You're only a couple of defeats away from being out. But it's how you bounce back. Like, I've seen Man City like 8-9 points behind, and we've never give up. I'm telling you now, as a Man City supporter, if Arsenal go 8-9 behind, you lot have give up. It's over. That's the angle. No one's saying you're coming back from that. That was the difference. I've seen it. It's easy for me to say that we can do it because we've won titles with the last kick of the game. We've won titles. We're 2-0 down in the last game. So the City fans have got that in their head. The Arsenal fans, they're suffering a little bit of PTSD. They're thinking about the times you've bottled the league. So as soon as you go 8 behind, it looks like it's massive and that's it. Well, it's not in a title race. Things can change like rapid. Do you know what I mean? If we'd have given that mentality when we were behind you, we would have just said, oh, Arsenal's run away with it. But we knew we was coming. I stood outside the Emirates and talked about a shark. I could have been the biggest prick in the fucking world if that had backfired on me. But I just knew that we was coming. And that's just because you watch your team. You know Arsenal better than me. I know City better than you. I just thought Man City near the end, if we're 6 or 7 off in the last 10 games, we've got a chance. If you were 6 or 7 off in the last 10 games, I don't think your fan base believes they could do it. That's the difference, what I'm trying to say, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%, because you've seen it and done it. We've yet to evidence that we can do it. What I'll say quickly before we move to City last year, right? Last season, just gone, City and Arsenal weren't really in a title race, to be fair, right? You had your own problems. We had no chance of ever really getting close to Liverpool, either of us, right? But the season before that, it went right down to the wire, to the last day. We ended up losing to Villa. I think the same week, Liverpool and Arsenal actually lost. I think they lost to Palace. We lost to Villa. And you were like, we won it. The season before that, we went 8 points clear and it come off and fell off at the end. Which Arsenal were you more scared of, Steve? The one that took it to the last day, or the one that went 8 points clear and you thought, whoa, which one scared you the most to think they might have a chance? I know you always believed Man City would win it, but which one do you think was more scary to come up against?
Yeah, it was the one you went 8 points clear. It was like that's the closest I've seen. I've seen Liverpool teams where we'd win, they'd win. We'd win, they'd win. We'd win, they'd win. You think, fucking hell, we ain't getting rid of these. And that was the same with Arsenal at the time. I thought, we're going to win the league. I think you got a last-minute goal, I think, once at Villa. I think it was at Villa. We were playing Forest that day. And that's the day I was talking about. And we were watching you before us. And you scored last minute. I think it hit the bar on the back of the keeper's head or something.
Yeah, Jorginho against Villa,
and then you're thinking, that's how you win titles. That's the mad shit. I've seen it. And when we go and draw at Forest, that's the day when I thought Arsenal probably going to win the league, you know. And then, but then it was just, there's always a wobble near the end from Arsenal where I think it just, everything gets to everyone. And it's just, I don't know. You can always count on it. But with City, when they won that treble that season, it just felt, I can't describe it. I've been watching football for 30 odd years. I just can't describe how it felt. It felt like, even when we lost, it was like, it wasn't a problem. It was like, we go again. We're going to put it right. We're going to go again. And the whole place had this aura about it. You were going to the games and it just felt different. And it was a great season. But I thought that team at Arsenal that year that went 8 in front, I thought that was the best Arsenal team you'd had.
I agree. Saliba and Tomiyasu getting injured totally killed our defence. We had to have bloody Rob Holding at the back, and no disrespect for Rob Holding, but he can't even get in the Palace side. So that shows you the level. We were trying to win a title with a Rob Holding defender, which just wasn't going to happen for us. And I felt that the mentality for me as well was an issue. I remember we went to 2-0 up at Anfield, and I thought, here we go, we're going to win the league. It's unbelievable, this. Never go 2-0 up at Anfield. We drew that 2-2. Same happened at West Ham. Drew that 2-2. We were 3-1 down against Southampton. 3-3. Drew that 3-3. And I thought, 3 draws. Draws kill you in a title race, as you know.
100%.
And I thought, we ain't going to do it now. We ain't going to do it. I was like, we're just not going to do this. We're going to throw it away.
Then
we lost to Brighton and Forest.
Don't you think that's the pressure?
Facts.
Don't you think that's the pressure? Because in the beginning of the season, you're playing Southampton at home, you're murdering. You're playing Brighton at home, you're murdering. Because it's the last bit and you're thinking every game's so pressure. And these teams are then, at the end of the season, are fighting for their lives. They're coming with a different mentality. That's when, I've seen City do it. Brentford, Palace, come to the Etihad, not expected to win, beat us, you know what I mean? It is a mentality issue. And like you say, there was a game last season where I think you was losing and there was 10 minutes to go and there was no one in it. And I said on the Big Six, if I'm a player and we're 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go, you want the fans to be behind you to the end, because sometimes you can drag you over the line. You've seen it when the fans are going mental and you score a last minute goal and get a winner. I've done it with City. But when I looked in the crowd, I thought, if the fans don't believe it, then do they really believe it? And that's what I just thought was different. But you get shit for it. They don't like the truth. No matter which platform I go on, which show I go on, any show, if it's Sky Sports, the Overlap or anything, I will always tell you the same thing. So there's no one can come in this chat and say, Big Steve said this on that show, but he said this on that show. You know what I mean? I'll always tell you the truth. And it's the truth because I believe it in my head. I might be a dickhead. You know what I mean? I might be a fucking lunatic. But as long as I believe that in my head, I'm always going to tell that what I believe. And people can either respect it and say, fair enough, or they can think, I don't like him. And that's what I say. If you don't like me on the Big Six, scroll past. But I'm not digging at anyone. And I'll be the first person, to congratulate all of you lot if you win the league. The first person. Grizz Khan, Liverpool, won the league. I got him a Premier League trophy and sent it in. Yeah. I said, well done. You deserve it. I'll always give credit where credit's due. Man United beat us in the FA Cup final. It fucking hurt. Yeah. But Saeed was the first person I called out the ground. Well done, mate. You deserved it. Because all season he'd had shit. They went and beat City. They deserved it. So I'll always be fair. But sometimes my opinion doesn't go with everyone's. But I like to think I've been there. I've seen it. I like to know what I'm talking about. And I just feel like you've got to hold your club standards at a certain level. That's why I respect a lot of Arsenal fans when they've got a certain level. You've grew up on Invincibles. You've grew up on Arsene Wenger. You've grew up on Robin van Persie, etc., etc. I get it. And then you've got a lot of generation that hasn't grew up on that. So their standards are a lot lower than yours. That's where you get the clash in the fan base. Oh, you're too entitled. Oh, you're not. You haven't got your standards. Yeah. It's very, very hard. You're always going to get that. We'll get it in a few years because a lot of our lot now have grown up on success. You get some that have grown up without success, and that's where you get it. And the world's a mad place. But I just feel, being honest, that Arsenal are nearly there. But you've got to get over the line. And I think when you get over the line, the whole relief of the whole football club and the fan base will just lift, and then it'll be party time. Then I think you'll start to do your shit. But that first one was getting over the line. Man City spent all that money. Mancini, last game of the season, going to lose the league, going to bottle the league title, the biggest bottlers in the world, Manchester City FC. Do you know what was going through my head when Dzeko scored that goal? We're biggest bottlers in the world. We're never, ever going to win the league, ever. My mentality was gone. I was on my ass. Well, Sergio Aguero changed it with one kick. And that's what I'm saying. You just need that one fucking moment where, bang, you've done it, and you'll be away.
Mate, I even started to get goosebumps when I think of that, man, because if that was me, I'd be going absolutely mad. That Aguero, I watched that, and I will never, ever forget that where I was. I was living with my parents at the time, 11, 12, won it season, and I remember sitting there because we just got top 4 ahead of Spurs, and we were obviously happy with that. And I looked at that game, and I thought, oh, my God, Man United are going to win this bloody league here. And that goal, I mean, it will never beat the Michael Thomas situation in '89 because of obviously we were playing Liverpool, but it's got very close to it for me. That was unbelievable ending to the season, man. So yeah, that won't ever be forgotten. Before we come City quick, what do you think Arsenal will win this year? Do you think we'll get anything over the line?
I think they will. I think they'll win something. I don't know what they'll win, but I think they could just do. Even if they go and swallow an FA Cup, you need it. They need it now. It's been a long time. Arteta needs it himself. Maybe he's got to take the cup competitions a little bit more serious, and do that. You know what I mean? But I do think they'll win something, and I think he keeps his job. Just
okay, interesting. Let's move to City very quickly. I've got to be honest, I liked your signings a lot. It's gone a bit quiet of late. I know you're still looking to do business. Haven't seen how you've played at all. I haven't watched any of that Club World Cup other than a couple of Chelsea games that were on in the background while I was doing some admin. It's not for me, and I'm not being bitter because we're not in it. I just wanted a break from it, really. And I was looking at some of the games, and I think Bayern Munich won 7-0, and that was enough for me not to bother watching anymore. So I didn't bother watching any of it. But
10-0 it was. 10-0.
Oh, was it 10? There we go. Yeah, I turned it off at 7. Anyway, I've got to be honest. I do like some of your signings, and the one I like the most is the one that I think people aren't talking about, and that's Reinders. Now,
Reinders, yeah.
I think he is absolutely quality, bro. I wanted him at Arsenal as the one box-to-box player that I wanted because people were talking about whether Rice could play there or if he was a holding midfielder. I really, really wanted him badly from AC Milan. I've been watching him for a long time. He's been a couple of seasons ago now. I've been watching thinking, this guy's good. I like a lot about the way that he plays football. And I think him and Rodri with Foden back in there could be a problem. I was a big fan of Marmoush. I wanted him in January. Obviously, you got him. And I think Ryan Cherky is a baller. I think Ait-Nouri's been underappreciated a lot because people say he can't defend. I think he's great going forward, but I actually think that he isn't so bad defending. What do you make of what you've seen so far from City in, not pre-season, whatever you want to call it, Club World Cup from what you're doing? Because a lot of people are worried about you defensively at the moment, still steering your goalkeeper. So what's going on, bro?
Yeah, no, I think last season it was very, 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 very slow, very, very laboured. I think there were players there that we needed to replace that we didn't. We won the league, and I think it papered over a couple of cracks. And I think Pep thought we'd probably get away with another season. Obviously, it didn't work out that way. The Rodri injury was massive. Everything we sort of go through him. Left us short. We had to go out in January after winning 1 in 13. We went out in January, made some signings, got a bit more squad players around us, and we scraped it to the end. Lost the cup final, disappointed, but didn't deserve it to win it. And got Champions League. He's gone out this summer. He's brought in Reinders, Cherky, and Naora. What we've seen in the World Club Cup was that we had a few more options going forward. It wasn't always side to side, boring football, which we saying it's boring. It was boring to watch. You know what I mean? It was teams were getting onto us. But the defensive frailties are still there. You know what I mean? He started off with Guardiola Diaz at centre back, which was fine in the Al Hilal game, and then Nunes and Guardiola went off, and we ended up with a Diaz, a Kanji, Ake sort of defence, which was too slow. And Al Hilal just fucking murdered us with a long ball over the top to Malcolm. So a few City fans are now panicking, saying the defence is slow, which I agree, it is slow. But we have got Cousinov there, and we have got Victor Reyes, who are very, very young, who can step in. But I think we need a right back. Mateus Nunes is not a right back. He's been pigeonholed into right back. He's done okay. I can't say he hasn't. But when the season starts, I think you need a right back. We've got good balance on the left. The Doku Naori link up on the left-hand side look very, very dangerous, like you say, going forward. But when teams were countering us, Doku and Nouri were too far up the pitch to even get back. We've seen this before. We had it with Kyle Walker and Riyad Mahrez. At one point, they were doing things up the top end of the pitch, which looked great. But as soon as they made a mistake and we got countered, we were all over the place at the back. So we got to be careful with that. I feel like Reinders, like you say, coming into midfield with Rodri just gives us a different look. Rodri coming back, he's not at full speed, but just having him there, the presence, and Reinders just looked brilliant. He was floating around that midfield, keeping the ball ticking, keeping it moving, one-touch play. He was getting back, defending. And then you've got Cherky that has been lively, you know what I mean? He scored, he set up a couple of goals. He's got a bit of a trick about him, got a little bit of a maverick about him, which everyone loves. And I just feel like he could be the game changer where when we were struggling for a goal last season, we didn't have anyone that could come on or, do something special to create. We had Kevin De Bruyne, who was past his best, and we had Jeremy Doku and Savinho running into dead ends. Teams were in a low block. Haaland stood in the middle on his own, nothing coming to him. But I feel like with Cherky, when he come on, him and Foden, the link-up looked very, very well. Foden last year was stinker. He didn't do anything. But I think he missed out on players that were on his wavelength. If you're a Phil Foden, you get yourself in a pocket, no disrespect, but Ilkay Gundogan or Mateo Kovacic ain't finding you in that pocket. They haven't got that passing range to ping it in there. First 10 minutes of Ryan Cherky, he's zipping it into Foden's feet. The pair of them are turning, attacking, running into space, causing murder. So I think offensively, you're going to see a Manchester City team that's going to be exciting and is going to be back to its best. Defensively, he's got to work. He's still got a bit of work to do. We've changed the backroom staff. Pep Linders is in there. Set coach has come from Liverpool now. So there is some changes, but I do think defensively and the goalkeeper situation, people are getting on Edison. Edison, I can't slag Edison.
Has he been that bad? Or
no, it's just they're going to blame him, aren't they? They don't want to lose to anyone. They lost to Al Hilal, and we deserve to lose to him at the end. They put it on us, but Edison made a couple of mistakes, but he saved us many a time. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have won the league many a time without Edison and the way he's been. So, is he due a change? Maybe in another year. I think we'll freshen it up, but for now, I think Edison will be number one.
Look, defensively, Manchester City still need a right back. Kyle Walker's gone. Nunez is not one. Not sure Akanji is either. I know you were linked with Livramento from Newcastle. I think that would be an absolutely amazing signing, by the way, if he was to get him. I don't know how much it'd cost or if he's possible to get, but I do think you'll bring in another fullback. Other than that, I think City are there or thereabouts. I didn't think Rodri was going to be as missed as he was, mate. I've got to be honest. Big fan of Rodri, and I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was clearly your best player. That affected Foden, if I'm honest with you. Odegaard was affected this season, just gone. Foden definitely was. I think Foden picks up his form with Rodri back in the side. And as long as it's the Rodri that we all know, I think City will be fine again. Haaland will then get better because what happens is when Rodri's there, Foden's affected, which then affects Haaland, right? So all three of them basically get not taken out your side, but you know what I mean? They get affected in your side.
Haaland was too easy to mark last year because there was no one in front of Haaland who was going to damage us. So the defenders were saying, don't worry about Ruben Diaz, Manuel Akanji and Kovacic, who've got the ball on the edge of the 6-yard box. They ain't going to do anything with it, only pass side to side. So don't go and engage with them. Just make sure Haaland has got no space so they can't slip it through. So this is what you were getting. You were getting Diaz, Akanji, Kovacic, Gundogan, all playing fucking training across the back four, passing the ball side to side, and defenders were just stood there on Haaland going, we're covered here. None of them are shooting. None of them are providing an assist. Haaland's marked. What you've got now is You've got Rodri picking the ball up deep. People are coming to engage him. You've got Reinders in and around him. Then you've got them tiny little gaps, which is now Foden's getting into. The defence is having to come out to grip Foden because he's in the danger zone because Foden can shoot. And then what you're doing then is him and Cherky are playing it. Haaland's got the space in around the back, opens up many doors. Last season, we were so easy to play against. The FA Cup final against Crystal Palace, they will never have an easier game than that, Palace, to win an FA Cup final, ever. And that's what's frustrated for me. Don't mind getting beat off a better side on the day. Seeing Wigan turn us over in FA Cup final, deserved it. But you've got to go and have a go. If you go and have a go and you get beat, I walk out of there, give me hands up. Don't fucking sit there passing the ball side to side for 75 minutes, get beat 1-0, and then, try and make it out like, oh, well, it wasn't our day. There's more ways of winning a football match than the Pep one-dimensional way that he had last year, and that was the problem. Even if you go long to Ireland for 20 minutes and play like Wimbledon 1991, John Fashion you're fucking with that fella up front, you're definitely getting chances,
Yeah, facts, bro, facts. And look, I've got to be honest, I'll ask you this, and I know it's very hard at the moment, and I'll ask you this again when we next collab together in a few months' time. Who do you see winning the league as things stand? And I know that the transfer window's not over and it can stay, because I've still got Liverpool, if I'm honest, favourites ahead of yourselves and Arsenal. Where do you stand on that, bruv?
I think we're going to win it.
Okay.
I think Pep's had a bad year, bad season. He's had a couple of kick in the bollocks. Don't think he likes how it feels. Feel like they've gone out, been proactive. They've changed not only the first team, but the backroom staff, etc., etc. And I feel like if a Manchester City playing as bad as what they did last year, with one winning 13, can finish third, with a Rodri coming back and everyone coming in, I feel like we're going to be thereabouts. I think we'll get it. I think City will snatch it, mate.
Okay. Let me ask you last two questions before we close. Pep Guardiola, is he staying beyond this season?
Yeah, I think his contract runs out in 27. And I think he will go in 27. And Luis Enrique's contract's up in 27. He might come over to us.
That worries me, if I'm honest. I want him next. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. I think he's phenomenal, by the way. The last question I've got for you, which everyone wants me to talk about, and I don't want to talk about whether you're guilty or not guilty, the 115 thing, what's actually happening with that? My honest opinion, I feel you'll get non-compliance fines and that will be it, and then everyone can move on. But what's actually going on with that, and when's that supposed to be coming to conclusion, bruv?
Well, I'm in the same boat as you. We all want to know what's happening. As far as I'm concerned, it's been done, dealt with. We're just waiting for it all to come out. But there's a lot of hypocrisy in it all. Chelsea last week got done for financial fair play, fined 20 million. They've just gone and won the World Club Cup. Now, if that was Manchester City, they'd be telling us there'd be asterisks next to it, and you've cheated. But apparently, when it's Chelsea or Man United that get done and fined, no one's asked. So apparently, I don't think anyone gives a fuck anymore, because the mockery of the rules. Nottingham Forest can go out there, break the rules, get a points deduction, buy 30 players, and then end up nearly in the Champions League. So it proves that if you cheat, it's worth it. You know what I mean? So you might as well just have a season where you just do what you want, get to where you are. Chelsea just took a £20 million fine and just gone and earned 200 million in the World Club Cup. So I think that the financial fair play is a joke. I think it's killed the transfer window. I think it's killed the fun we all used to have, where players used to, you never know who's going to sign. I think it'll get scrapped. And like you say, City have always claimed they're innocent. So I'm always going to back my club, no matter what Dave down the pub says, or fucking Doris in the butchers. They ain't got a fucking clue, same as me. But if my chairman, Sheikh Khaldoon Al Mubarak, tells me we've got irrefutable evidence, then I'm backing him. I'm sorry if that upsets people, but that's just the way we are. And Sheikh Mansour and Mubarak are giving me no reason to not back them. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the apologies if they are found innocent. the non-compliance
There
one,
won't
like
be
you
any,
said,
bro. There won't be any apologies.
no,
There's not going to be.
the non-compliance thing is a certainty because they didn't
Yeah.
comply.
Yeah.
But that would have been on legal advice. You know, when they're asking for certain things, then they say, no, you don't give them anything till the court. That's what would have happened. So they'll take that. We just got fined £2 million for coming out late in the Premier League last season. So they're not asked. But I don't know. Let's get it over with, put it to bed and move on. But like you say, at least we're not selling our women's football team back to ourselves or selling hotels back to ourselves and pretending that's normal. But,
That
you know, it
stinks,
is what it
bro.
is.
That absolutely stinks, man. And Chelsea are laughing about it. Their fans are laughing, but at the same time are shouting 115. The whole thing stinks, to be honest. A couple of questions on Super Chat, Steve, before we do come to a close, mate. Ryan says, was the £40 million for Palmer worth it? In hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, obviously. Wow, what a signing it was for Chelsea. What did you make of that when it happened, bro?
We all knew Cole was a good player, but we at the time he had Riyad Mahrez in front of him, Bernardo Silva in front of him, Foden in front of him, playing on that right hand side. So at the time, a lot of City fans were not. I don't think they were alarmed by it. They were just thinking, okay, it's good money for him at the time. Obviously, he's gone there and smashed it up, and he's a brilliant player. It happens in football, isn't it? So I wish him all the best. All the Man City fans always wish Cole the best. And it's good to see him turn it up.
Look, I think he's a top player. I think most of your academy now are in and around the Premier League, smashing it. Lavia, Morgan Rogers, Cole Palmer, Liam Delap, Pedro Porro, even that youngster at the back, centre half at Southampton looked pretty good last year as well. Jamie Gittins has just been signed. It's like, wow, Manchester City's academy is now all in the Premier League for other clubs. It's mad how many players you've brought through. I've got to be honest. It really is crazy. But last couple, this one comes in from NCUSA Gunner. Says, gotta love Big Steve. Speaks facts as he sees it. He's annoying as hell sometimes, but great banner, respect. And a big up to you, bro. I appreciate that. And the last one, Steve, is from Aju. Says, Ornstein's reporting the Isak to Liverpool, and it's worrying me. And I've just looked at that, and he hasn't actually said it's happening. He said that the Darwin Nunez move is expected, and Liverpool's priority is Isak. Now, I understand the priority is Isak, and it's been Isak for quite some time. So I don't know that that's a massive update, to be fair. Do you think Isak's going anywhere? And do you think he is going to go to Liverpool? Because I think he's going to stay for another year at Newcastle. But what are you telling me?
Yeah, I think he would stay at Newcastle. I think if he is available, you'd like to think Arsenal will be in for him as well. If you both need a striker, but I don't know. I just don't see Newcastle selling Isak to Liverpool. But somebody did make an interesting point saying that if they sold him to Liverpool for whatever it was, 150, it frees them up financially for the PSR for 3 years to spend up to 450 million.
Oh.
So that's what someone said. I was reading an article. So whether they do it from that point of view and think, you know what, we'll take the money, but it frees us to then go and build a better squad, might be an option. I don't know how it works, but they're after Eki TK, is it from Frankfurt?
Yeah.
80 million, good player. But at the sacrifice of Isak, it's a bit of a risk.
Yeah, I don't think he'll go this summer. I think next summer could be a conversation if Newcastle don't start showing huge progress towards a title challenge or towards trophies again. But I do feel like Barcelona will be in for him next year when Lewandowski goes. That's my tip for where he goes next. However, from what we understand, he quite likes the Premier League. He's quite happy at Newcastle. Liverpool and Arsenal definitely are interested. So we'll have to see what happens there. And also, I think it depends on what Liverpool and Arsenal do sale-wise. Because if Liverpool sell Nunez and Diaz, they'll have a big chunk of money there to lump all on Isak, in my opinion. And obviously, Arsenal looking like they're selling people, but it ain't going to give us much. I mean, a few of the players we linked with moves away are like Trossard, Zinchenko, Vieira, Lokonga. It's not going to get us anything big anywhere near the amount that we'd need to lump on Isak. And I think now we're getting Gyökeres. I'll be very surprised if we got Isak on top of that. But we'll have to see, man. We will. Steve, look, it's been a pleasure getting you on, man. It always is. I really appreciate you coming on every time because I know how busy you are. So thank you again, mate. What you got coming up? What do you want to shout out? How can people follow you, etc.?
To be honest, mate, I've not done anything on my own channel for about a month. I've just been busy pre-season and doing my own thing. Big Six show. You know where to find us. We would come back from South Africa, so we just did the Backy chat in Johannesburg, which is out now. go and tune into that. But the main football content will start. I think we've got a pre-season friendly with Palermo, 8th of August. I'm going to fly out there and go and watch that. So I might do a couple of vlogs on that or something like that.
Legend, man. Make sure you're following Steve on all social media platforms. You'll see him on the Big Six regularly, as well as his channel. So make sure you do that. We're going to send you over to FamZone TV. We've got D and Dean chatting at the moment with George about Arteta. It's getting very heated. So go and enjoy that one. Show some love there. Say Dan Potts raid and make sure that they know and you're following them. I'll be back at 7 o'clock this evening with the Arsenal Roundabout with an absolutely elite panel that you will not want to miss. So big up to everyone that's here. Thanks for the super chats. Go show some love over there, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy, people.